Hello and welcome to Big Friendly Grub. I hope you are well. And in this crazy time of the coronavirus, I hope that is especially true more than ever at the moment. Now, I love a good kitchen utensil and I love a good kitchen gadget. In fact, I've got a drawer full of the things. Come and have a look. Don't know why I kind of ran up like that, but let's roll with it. Here are my kitchen utensils, my kitchen gadgets. We've got all sorts of things in here. We've got a blowtorch, because every good kitchen needs a blowtorch. I've got multiple dough scrapers. I've got whisks. I've got a kitchen baster thing. I've got a thermometer. I've got all sorts in here. But you can never have too many kitchen gadgets. Well, you probably can actually, but let's go with the reasoning that you can't. So I thought it was time I hopped on the bandwagon and actually, well, not got ahead of the curve or even on the curve. I'm so far behind the curve that it's still a straight line. But I thought I'd at least get on the kitchen gadget train so I can actually try and catch up to everyone else who's doing kitchen gadgets. So I thought, where best to start than testing a load of old tat from wish.com. Now, if you haven't used wish.com before, it is literally an online store where you can get loads of old tat, but some also really quite good stuff as well. So I thought I would just get a bunch of stuff from there. It's pretty cheap. A lot of these were free. You just paid for the shipping. Some were a couple of quid. I think the most expensive one was £8. And yeah, so I thought, well, there's no harm in getting these things and giving them a go. So after weeks and weeks and weeks of waiting, I finally have those kitchen gadgets. So I thought, let's get started with a wish.com kitchen gadget special. Is it a special if it's the first one? It's special to me. Let's go and take a look at these gadgets. Now, as this is my very first foray into kitchen gadget testing on the channel, I thought I'd start off with one that is very, very simple, that even I would be unfortunate to mess up, shall we say. And I thought I would start off with these. They're literally just funnels. I've got two little funnels. I don't think they even cost anything. I think these were like the freebies, and they are tiny. They're a lot smaller than I imagined them to be. But they are silicone ones and they just fold out like so. And I've actually already got one of these, a lot larger, not from Wish. I think I just got it from like IKEA or something like that. I can't remember. It's in my kitchen gadget drawer. And see, I've got another one here. It's a lot larger, but I never find it very good. It's very flimsy and unwieldy. And often if I'm trying to actually pour stuff into it, it tends to go all over the place, kind of like this. So I'm actually wondering, one of these might actually be better just because it's smaller and it's going to be less inclined to go all over the place. So for each gadget, before I even get started, I am going to give these a quick wash because hygiene is important. Even before the coronavirus, it was important. So let's go give these a wash, a thorough wash, and let's come back and test it. It's a funnel. What more do you want? Right, I've washed my funnel. It's nice and clean. Ooh. And yeah, so I'm just going to give this a quick test. Nothing exciting. I'm just going to try and pour some water into a bottle with it. A basic test just to see if it works. Because quite frankly, it's a funnel. You pour stuff into it. We don't need to go too overboard with this. So I've got my bottle, a nice, lovely, what was sparkling spring water bottle. And I've got my water. So this is all I'm going to use. I'm going to pop this in here. It's a square funnel. I'm literally putting a square peg into a round hole. That actually kind of fits quite nicely. It keeps it quite snug and it stops it from rolling around too much. And I'm just going to pour this in here. And actually, that actually works quite well because it's actually quite firm, and because it's smaller, it doesn't roll around too much all over the place. I'm actually oddly happy with that. That's actually a really good one to start off with. That's worked really well. By comparison, this one falls out quite easily, and I'm always a bit worried about pouring stuff into it because if you go too far one way or the other, fill it up too much, it goes off to one side. Yep. Yeah, I actually prefer that to this large one, which actually cost more. Those were free. They only paid for the shipping, and that was only like a couple of quid. Yeah, I think this one was like £3 or something like that. So two of those little funnels has actually worked out better. So that's a really good start. Quite happy with that. So for my dinner tonight, I need to make some homemade chips, or I want to make some homemade chips. I don't need to make homemade chips, but I have some in my freezer. I just so happen to have a couple of gadgets that will help me in making some chips. So I've got a lovely red potato here. I can't remember the exact name, but it's a lovely red potato and these make very nice chips. So I need something to cut these up. So what better to use than a potato cut? That's literally what it says on the packet. That's literally all it came in, but it's literally just a potato cutter. So I've got something a bit more elaborate than this, but because this was like so cheap, I thought I'd give it a go and yeah, see how it works, because it doesn't feel, put this down, it doesn't feel that sturdy, and I'm a bit worried about if I press down on it, it might break, but we've got to give it a try. We're going to have to see how it works. If it works, I'll be very surprised. I'm a bit worried about this, a bit worried about cutting my fingers off, to be honest. Does this even fit my potato? It might just fit, you know. Might turn it around this way so you can see a bit better. Not the best angle for me, but let's give it a go. So this goes over the top of here. I'm going to try and push this down over the top. Oh, this does not feel stable at all. Oh, this is not good. This is not working at all. Oh, it's not at all sharp. Let's try moving it over a bit. I don't think it helps that my potato might be a bit wide. So let's trim it down the sides a little bit. This probably defeats the purpose now, seeing as we've got the knife out. It's not going to be the best chips in the world. At least they're just for me. This thing, it's not working at all. It doesn't feel at all sharp. I'm determined to make it work. Oh no, I think. Yeah. Oh no, it's it's yeah. That's completely broken. Admittedly, I wasn't being delicate with it, but I mean, if it's not going to go through the thing it's designed to go through, what's the point? I mean, I can't remember how much that was. Maybe like £1. It's probably not even worth that. Oh well. So after sorting my mic out because it cuts out for some reason, and also cutting my chips up using the old tried and true method of using a knife, I now have something that vaguely resembles chips. But what I need to do is rinse these off and get some of the starch off so I can have nice crispy chips. And I need a colander, but not just any colander, a cheapo colander from Wish. Just what everyone needs. And actually, I kind of like this thing. It actually feels all right. It's one of these ones that you can just pop out like this. And that is actually quite good because it makes storing it easier. It feels quite decent quality actually. And it's not the biggest one. You could actually get a bigger size, but I thought I'd just get a small one just in case it turned out to be crap like that potato cutter. But it feels quite decent quality. It's because I'm trying to say colander and quality at the same time, and it's too much for my tiny brain. So let's pop these in here. Feels like it's going to hold some chips at least. I mean, that's a good sign. And let's get these washed under the tap. I don't know why I said that with such anticipation. It's literally just washing some potatoes. Right, we're over my sink. I've got this over here. Is it wide enough? It's not quite wide enough for me to hook over my kitchen bowl. That's a shame, but it's no problem. Yeah, that seems to work. That is indeed a colander. So yeah, I mean, I call that a success. I mean, however much I paid for it, it's quite decent quality, and it works really nicely, and it's going to be nice and easy to store. So that works really well. So I'm just going to stand here and finish washing my chips for a bit, and then we can do the next gadget. Now, as a man, this next gadget makes me very, 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 very nervous and very upset, because the next gadget is the banana schneider, and it is what it looks like. It is a gadget for slicing bananas, and it looks like this. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know why you need something specifically for slicing bananas. Maybe you go through a lot of bananas. Maybe you make a lot of banana pies or banana tarts or banoffee pies or anything. It's rather scary looking. And the idea is you put the banana in there like that. But I've got to test it. I've got to test it on my banana. So I'm going to peel my banana. It's just on the right shade of greeny yellow for me. This is how I like my bananas. There's no instructions on it. I mean, what do you need? I mean, you put your banana in it and you slice it. It just says on the back, and banana slicer, 6 thin, equal sized slices with 1 cut. Precision blades made from 1810 stainless steel. Is that good? I don't know. Ergonomic design. Certainly ergonomic. I think I'm just trying to put off using this. Let's slice my banana, shall I? So here's my banana all peeled, and it's ready to go in my banana schneider. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that works. Oh, that's quite brutal. Oh, geez. Okay. Let's hold this a bit closer to the board. Well, it certainly does what it says on the tin. It slices bananas really, really well, actually. Those are super, super even slices. Look at those. Those are really, really even. And they would actually be great for banoffee pies or something like that, where you want to array out your banana slices. Those are cut. Those are definitely cut. I mean, it's horrifying to use, but it definitely works. Just makes me wonder what else it can cut. So I have got here a Frankfurter. Yeah, I know. But you might call it, in the US, a wiener. So I'm going to take my wiener and try it on the banana slicer to see if it actually cuts it evenly. Why do I do this to myself? So in it goes. Let's see if this cuts my wiener evenly. Sorry. Oh, it's a bit tougher because it's got that skin on it. Oh, I don't know if it's going to cut it, you know. It's not really going through. I mean, I should be grateful, but this is actually torturous. Oh! Well, it did it, but it's not exactly... Oh, it's gone everywhere. Wiener everywhere, folks. Oh. Oh, the tip of my wiener went on the floor. Okay, well, I wouldn't really call that... I mean, it sliced it did, but because it had to try and get through the skin, it kind of just ended up flying everywhere. It's not really the best thing for slicing wieners, thankfully. Yeah, no, it's not great for that. So because that didn't really work very well on the wiener, I'm also not very hopeful for it working on what I've got next. It's a carrot, because this is quite tough as well. But because it's quite a slender carrot, maybe it'll work. Perhaps because it hasn't got skin on it, it might also work. Or it just might go horribly, horribly wrong. But I'm going to give it a go. I'm curious. So here's my carrot. See if it goes through. I think we're going to get the same sort of problem. Yeah, I don't see this going through at all. Yeah, that's not going to go through. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's just going to wind up breaking it. I think I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Definitely not working on my carrot. It's only a thin carrot, but yeah, that's not going to work. I think that's enough of the banana schneider for one day. So after messing around with bananas and wieners and carrots, I think we should turn our attention to something different. Specifically, balls, or rather, meatballs. I've got here a pair of like meatball scissors. I think that's what they were called, but they are basically scissors with a little cup on the end for making meatballs. I'm going to test this out just to see if it actually works, because I do enjoy meatballs. Don't particularly enjoy shaping them though. You know, rolling the meat around in your hands, you know, it's all a bit messy. So I've just got here, I've got some mincemeat basically that I've seasoned and just squidged into shape. So I'm just going to be using this to try and shape these into balls basically. So let's bring this over here. I guess just take a slice like that, bring it out, and I don't know, get the excess off from around here. Squeezes all out the ends. This is rather gross, but kind of fun. Well, it looks like it's worked, but how do I get this out without squashing my ball? Oh, there we go. That has kind of created a ball. I mean, I suppose I could roll it around in my hands. That kind of defeats the purpose then, but at least it brings it all up a bit even. But that is a fairly even meatball indeed. I'll pop my balls onto my plate. Let's give another one a go. Yeah, I mean, that actually works quite well. A lot better than I expected. And then, yeah, you can then just like use your hands to kind of bring it up a bit even, because it leaves a bit of a seam in the middle. You might be able to seam that there. Overall, that's not bad. I mean, is it necessary? No, not necessarily, no. I mean, but it's not unnecessary. I mean, someone could find a use for this. Someone who perhaps struggles with like dexterity or something like that in their hand, then it could certainly maybe help them. I mean, if you struggle creating a meatball with your hands, I don't know if these will be any easier to use, but they certainly work. Let's see how many I can get out of my meat here. So after much ball scissoring, or some other better term for that, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fairly even balls, and also one not so even ball. But I mean, it works, it does work, it does what it says. Whether it made it any easier, I'm really not sure. I think in some cases it makes it a little bit harder, but at least if you are after a decent portion size, I think it helps for that. I don't know if it actually shapes it that well, but it definitely gives you the portion size. So I think it's useful for that. So for the price, I would say that works quite well. I would say you probably still need to use your hands a lot though. So if you're looking to kind of like stop the mess, it doesn't really help with that, but it does help with the portion size. Now, after messing around with like bananas and wieners and balls, I could really use a drink. In fact, I could use a really nice cappuccino. But I don't have a cappuccino maker, and I don't want to do one of those out of the packet things. So what do? Well, I use cappuccino maker. It's a bit of a grandiose term basically for a milk frother. It says the cafe taste at home. Whip up a nice hot cup in an instant. The simple to use and cordless cappuccino maker is handheld, so you can create sensational delights right in your cup. Don't believe me? That's what it says. Make instant frothy beverages, perfect for entertaining afternoon tea in the morning or just a little something special for yourself. Quick and easy, great for hot and cold recipes. Cappuccino maker is also easy to clean. It really works. Well, I'll be the judge of that. This is all that came in. There's no instructions. This is what it is. It takes 2 AA batteries. It's like one of those just basically whisk things you can get, but it's got batteries on it. I can't remember what it cost. It's probably like about £4 or something like that. Probably the batteries cost more than this did. Especially as they're rechargeables. It probably could buy like 8 of these for the price of rechargeable batteries. But it works. Or at least it turns on. You've got really strong vibrations to it. Spins it round, I think. I'm not going to touch it, that would be stupid. What are you doing now? The idea is you froth up some warm milk and pour it onto your coffee. I've got some coffee, cup's half full or half empty if you're an optimist or a pessimist, depends. But half full cup, I'm being an optimist today, and I've got some warm milk in a jug because that's the only thing that I have that will work. And I guess all we do is take this, pop it in, and whoa, oh, yep, that is actually working really well. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I didn't expect that to be working as well as it did. Wow, that's actually pretty good. How much can I froth this up now, I wonder? Look, check this out. Look how frothy that's getting. That is really increasing in volume. Oh, wow, I'm actually really impressed with that. I shouldn't be so impressed. Okay, that's probably enough. Right, oh, I've got to stop it vibrating to... Oh, yeah. That has actually worked. That has created some proper frothy coffee there. Well, frothy milk, which we can then, if I can do this right, and just pour into our coffee to create what is basically a cappuccino. I don't think you're going to get any latte art out of me today, but that's kind of worked quite well. And maybe I've over-frothed that actually, but that has kind of worked. I mean, that's as close as I'm going to get to a frothy cappuccino at home when I don't have a cappuccino maker. I don't have any chocolate for the top, but that doesn't matter. Let's actually see if it tastes any good. If it doesn't taste any good, that's entirely my own fault on the coffee to milk ratio. I mean, I can't blame it for like not making it taste good. It's literally just frothing milk. You know what? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. For what was basically instant coffee, decent instant coffee, but still instant coffee, and some milk I frothed up myself, that actually tastes like a okay cappuccino. I mean, that may not be a raging review or anything, you know, but, you know, for something that I bought off of Wish for a few quid, it kind of did the job. I think with some decent coffee and the right ratio of milk to coffee, that could actually be all right. I'm quite impressed by that. I know the bar was low, but come on, credit where credit's due. I've got my cappuccino, but I need some cake. But do you have trouble slicing cake? Can you not slice cake if your life depended on it? So if you have trouble slicing cake, what you need is a cake slicer. Apparently, these things are supposed to give you perfectly portioned pieces of cake. I don't have a cake big enough to really give this a fair test. I'll say this in advance. I'm here by myself. I haven't had time to make a big cake, and also I don't want to buy a big cake by myself. So all I've got to test this with is this teeny tiny cake that I bought from the shop. But we make do with what we have. The idea is that you can use this to cut perfectly even portions of cake. So obviously if I try and use this whole thing, it's going to create a big mess because it's just to cut the cake in half. Let's just try and do this as perfectly as I can. Let's try and get this in the middle. Down through that goes, and then you can just puddle with the cake out. Look at that. that actually works quite nicely. And then the idea is that it should be the right shape to then get another portion of cake out. And then can I get another? See, what bothers me now is that has created like a weird, it's not quite got the same sort of groove here, so it's not quite creating the same even cake. It's going to cut a weird slice out of it. See, now we've got an even bigger curve out of it. I mean, like I say, it's not really the perfect test, but because it's not got the same sort of shape to it here, it hasn't got the same sort of groove, it's not really cutting even slices of cake. So to me, I don't see the 100% the purpose of it. It's not really giving me even slices, it's not giving me the same shape. I think even with a normal size cake, it still wouldn't cut quite right. Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on that. I mean, it cuts cake, that's for sure, but it's not really cutting it evenly. Not a success in my eyes. Now I'm saving the best for last, and it could be the best because if it works right, I could get donuts out of it. But it could also be the best because it might just be terrible and it will just be the best in terms of entertainment value for you. But what I have is donut batter dispenser, and it is cheap as F. Absolutely cheap AF. It is really, really flimsy. It came in this box, literally a white box, with no instructions at all. So I'm going to have to try and figure out how to work this thing myself. I've created some donut batter already over here just to go into it. I don't know if this is right, so I'll put a disclaimer on it. If this goes wrong, it could also be my batter, because I've only ever made donuts using like dough rather than the batter. The idea is that I should be able to put this into this, pull it up or push it down or something, and it should drop batter into the oil and create donut shapes. But I'll give it a go. It might be a bit risky because I'm using hot oil, and if I mess this up I could burn myself, so hooray for that. But I'm going to get some hot oil on and let's give it a go. Bit worried about this one. Right, the first thing I need to try and do is try and get my batter into here. So I'm holding this down because if I don't, the plunger in the bottom springs up and that's going to let the dough out, I'm assuming. So I want to hold this down while trying to get my batter in. It's such a small dispenser, it's going to be a right mess. Don't think this is going to work very well somehow. Oh, it's already starting to come out the bottom. I'm holding it down and you can see it's already starting to drip out the bottom here. It's not holding it in at all. Right, I think that's enough of the batter. I'm going to keep holding that down and let's bring this over to my hot oil. So I've got some very, very hot oil here. So I'm going to hold this over and then I guess pull this up. Oh, no. It's just let it out in one big blob. It's supposed to be rings, but that didn't work at all. That didn't work at all. I mean, it's in there. I mean, oh, it's just not holding it in at all. It's just letting it out in one big blob. Maybe I need to be a bit more careful with it. Oh, well, I don't think this is ever going to get like donut rings out of it. It might get like, it's not really letting any, oh, it's just, I'm just getting blobs of batter now. It's just absolutely useless. It's not very good at all. The batter's smelling good, I mean, at least that's something, but I can't see how this is going to be any help at all. But what might be of help is this extra special bonus gadget I've got here, which is basically a little strainer and half a tong as well. So hopefully this will help me turn and grab this thing. Oh, I think this is, maybe it will help me get underneath it. It's just so big and sloppy, it's not helping me turn it over at all. It's allowing me to turn those over. It's not really allowing me to get under this monster. Ugh. Oh dear, there we go. That was hazardous. Oh, this has just gone horribly, horribly wrong. Yeah, I do not recommend. It doesn't do anything at all. I think I'm just going to be trying hopeful to get like maybe this one here to be kind of edible, because this one just looks like a complete and utter mess. I mean, this just looks awful. Do not recommend. So I'm going to try and finish these up, and then I might at least toss one of these in sugar and see if it's actually edible. But as a dispenser for donut batter, this was pretty rubbish. Yeah, it's not worth whatever I paid for it. Right, I managed to get my donuts out of the oil without burning myself too much, and yeah, I suppose I should give these a fair whack at least. I've got some cinnamon sugar here, which I'm just going to toss this one in, which looks like it might be vaguely the most edible. I'm just going to give this a quick toss in some sugar just to see if it actually tastes any good. Looks like a complete and utter mess. Not as much as mess as this thing, but maybe it will taste okay. At least maybe we'll have something out of this. So let's give it a quick try. It's not bad. A little bit oily. Overall, I mean, at least it's edible. It's not great. Could be down to my batter. Probably more to the fact that it just came out in a complete blob and probably just didn't absorb the oil like it should have. But it's not a donut. It's not. I'm not even going to give this a try. This is a complete and utter shambles. Do not want is my review of the donut dispenser. But to be honest, that thing was so flimsy. Stuff was dripping out through it. I couldn't see how to like actually control it at all. To me, even if like my batter had been decent, it would have probably just not worked very well anyway. This was a complete and utter fail, but they can't all be a winner, unfortunately. I don't rate that as a success. We end on a fail, I'm afraid. So that was my very first gadget testing random gadgets off of wish.com. Some of them worked a lot better than I imagined, and some were a terrible, terrible failure. Tell you what, little funnels, great. They did exactly what they should, and they worked really well, and they worked actually much better than the little silicone funnel that I already have. The cappuccino thing, great. Really worked, really frothed up the milk and actually delivered quite a nice frothy coffee. I really like that one. The meatball thing did all right as well. It manages to portion things out quite well. I think that's what it's most useful for. But as far as getting the shape right, you still need to do a bit of the effort yourself using your hands. So it doesn't really take that away, but it does make for useful portion control, and that really helps, I think. So those are quite useful. I think I'll keep those. The banana Schneider was actually horribly effective at what it was supposed to do. It sliced the banana well, and it was horribly effective on that. Not so great on frankfurters, and definitely didn't work on carrots. So if you want something to slice your bananas, then that'll do it. But for anything else, literally anything else, don't put it near it. The colander, well, it's a colander. What more do you want? You know, it's actually quite good. It's quite good quality. It collapses down. That'll be useful for putting away somewhere. It's much more compact than my oven colander, and it's got holes in it. So that's pretty much your main requirement for a colander. But it's sturdy, and it did exactly what it should. This thing, it was all right. To be honest, the reach on it isn't brilliant. I was having some difficulty picking up my crappy donuts, but to be honest, it was getting quite hard to get underneath them because this arm isn't quite long enough. If it was like a bit longer and had a bit of a wider spoon thing on it, then it might have been all right, but it was a little bit tricky to get underneath. It has its use, I'm sure. It might be better on something that isn't donuts, but I'm not 100% sold on it. And as for the potato cut and the donut batter dispenser, well, those are in the bin where they belong because they were utter rubbish. But that's it for my very first kitchen gadget testing. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more of these, then let me know. If there's specific things you'd like me to test, then let me know. And yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. I think next time I might actually get some decent gadgets that I can actually test. These ones were a mixed bag because they literally cost like a couple of quid each off of Wish. But next time I might get some decent gadgets to test and see how those turn out. So if you'd be up for seeing that, then let me know. Otherwise, give the video a like, give the channel a subscribe, and take care of yourself. And I will see you on the very next Big Friendly Grub.